The purpose of this video is to explain the difference between the three levels of IRB review. If someone wants to do a research study with humans, they have to apply to the IRB board to get permission. The IRB board decides what level of review that your application will be reviewed under. The three types are: the first is an exempt review, the second is an expedited review, and the last is a full review. And the way they decide which level review that you'll go under is based on how much risk is in your study, or how much, what kind of risk will the participants be exposed to during the study. So an exempt review is the least restrictive, then expedited is in the middle, and then the full review is the most serious or the hardest of all three reviews. The reviews are based on how much risk is in the study. So the IRB board defines risk or minimal risk as the probability and magnitude of harm or discomfort that's anticipated in the research, but that it's not greater than what someone would experience in everyday life. That is the definition of minimal risk, that the risk posed in this study is no more than what someone would encounter in their everyday life. So the way that they determine the difference between the studies is that an exempt review would be less than minimal risk, an expedited review would be no more than minimal risk, and a full IRB review would be more than minimal risk or greater than minimal risk. That's the difference between the three levels of IRB reviews that someone has to go through if they want to do a research study. Again, it's exempt, expedited, and full. So an example of an exempt study would be, let's say I want to compare two classrooms, one of which is an online classroom and the other one is an in-person class, and I want to see who learns more of the information, the online class or the in-person class. If I scroll down a bit, it teaches me about expedited review. An expedited IRB review would mean that there is no more than minimal risk, but that there is some risk in the research study. So an example would be if we are recording, if you look at number 4 here, if we are doing a voice recording for someone who has speech issues. Or let's say if someone is exercising and we're analyzing that sort of how they respond to that exercise. Also, research on drugs or devices, that will require a higher level of review. A full IRB review, which it doesn't describe that here in this page, but a full IRB review would be where participants are at more than minimal risk of harm. So for example, if we're asking participants about depression or suicide risk, that may pose more than minimal risk. So that would be a full IRB review.